Yes, people, I'm Srini, and you are watching Intact TV. On today's show, I'm joined by Pranay, Samrid, and Amog. And of course, it is the Euro 2020 final, a massive, massive contest, like an evenly tied contest. So let's not waste any more time. We are going to react to the lineups. I'm going to read the England lineup. Pranay's going to read the England lineup, and then we're going to analyze the game. So the England lineup is, I mean, it's pretty expected. Jordan Pickford starts in goal. A back three plays with Kyle Walker, John Stones, and Harry Maguire. Kieran Trippier plays as a right wing back. Luke Shaw plays as a left wing back. The usual double pivot of Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips continue. And a front three of Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, and Mason Mount, interestingly enough. Hint, we're going to go to a Moog when we talk about Mason Mount, but let's not get into that as of yet. Pranay, can you tell the viewers what the lineup is?
Okay, so I'll just go over the Italy lineup real quick. So we have Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal. We have Lorenzo, Chiellini, Bonucci, and Emerson forming the back four. We have Nicolo Barella, Giorgio, and Marco Verratti as the centre mid, and Chiesa, Immobile, and Insigne. So they're basically going unchanged from the last game.
Fair play, fair play. So two pretty standard lineups, but I guess there's some question marks here and there. Amog, I'll go to you. Mason Mount starts, but I mean, let's assume he's going to play as a winger. What do you make of that? Because Mason Mount on the wing isn't the one.
Yeah, you know what? I think Gareth Southgate is probably looking at a Champions League winner to win the Euros tonight. So he's definitely vouching for someone to win another trophy. But, I see him definitely playing as a number 10, but also, we know Mason Mount can play left and right. So I think probably the thinking going into this is that they want to put pressure on Chiellini and Bonucci, simply because they'll probably have a task of marking Harry Kane. But with Sterling and Mount probably going straight at them, they probably will be out of options. So, yeah, I mean, we know Mason Mount is world class. And, it is a surprise that he hasn't started Saka or Sancho. But I'm guessing that he's probably looking at, the second half, or even if it goes to penalties, he's probably looking to put on an extra attacking player. So to finish the game, maybe there'll be some important substitutions made later on. So I think right now this squad is definitely equipped to say that it's coming out. And Italy, of course, are big competition. So, Samrid, what do you make up of the Italy lineup?
The Italian lineup is pretty standard. I mean, what's missing is, of course, Spinazzola for me. You all know how big of a fan I am after this Euros. So I feel that left-hand side, just as a system, they are not very good, because I see often Insigne moving in and Spinazzola making those overlapping runs, which Emerson needs to learn. Of course, he's been an outcast in Chelsea, hasn't played a lot of football. Had a good game versus Spain, I'm not going to lie, he played really well. But I feel that position is still where, England can actually target. But other than that, it's a very standard Italian lineup. I like Marco Verratti on the left-hand side of the midfield. Hopefully, the Italians do show up today. Pranay, what are your views on the Italian lineup?
So I pretty much go in. So my views and some of the views are really similar on it. So I am slightly Spinazzola's missing in this lineup is a major setback. But I am slightly interested in the England lineup because I'll go after. So I discussed the structure, but we can do that later. But it's a pretty expected lineup, and they're going to keep their central five in the midfield to cut off passing lanes. So that is where my doubts over England lineup are. So Srini, do you have anything to add on to it?
To the Italy lineup or the England lineup? Because I kind of have views on both.
Even I have views on both. So first, how about you take the Italy lineup?
Yeah, by the way, guys, everyone watching, I apologize. My internet is not the best, so some of the conversation is getting missed right now. But speaking of the Italy lineup, again, I echo you guys' thoughts. I think that Spinazzola is a big loss. And if I was Gareth Southgate, I think what would be a cash money move would be to play Raheem Sterling as a right winger. We know what he did to Marler. I mean, that was murder, And if he does the same thing against Emerson, someone who's barely played the season and just someone who isn't the best defensively, I think England could really run riot in that first half. Like I said in the last show, and it did come true, Raheem Sterling on the right is absolutely incredible, isn't he? He's just way more unpredictable. Even if you're the best left winger out there, you are going to cut inside, sorry. But as a right winger, you can cut inside on your natural right foot, but then you can go outside as well. So that makes me much more unpredictable. So I would have loved to see Sterling play there. And I'm not a fan of Mount starting just because, again, I would have targeted the slowness of that backline. Like Chiellini and Bonucci are still awesome, but if you saw Morata's goal, like they did get drawn out of position for Morata to sort of play that 1-2 with Dani Olmo. So I would have actually call me crazy, but I wouldn't be opposed to even starting Marcus Rashford in this sort of game. Like that pace is something that the Italians haven't had to deal with. And Raheem Sterling and Marcus Rashford, with the quality they possess, with the directness they possess, I think they would have made for a very dangerous proposition. The Italy lineup is very standard in general, so there's not much I have to add. But this is something I want to add in general because I don't think this is a point that people will consider. There's a comment from Daksh Variani, and then we'll discuss, more things about this massive, massive tie. Uh, Daksh Variani says, Raz, man of the tournament. Kane was scored a brace to have the boot, but the trophy will be lifted by Mancini. I mean, by the way, guys, surprise, surprise, Daksh is a massive City fan, so he's always spreading his Mancini prop. Adibir in the comments says Srini mugging, and he says me off for Gareth props. Adi, if you watch the recent shows, if you read my recent articles, I have been saying that Gareth Southgate has done a really good job. Great custodian for English football, and just yeah, man, fair play to him. I mean, I was waiting on Southgate, but he's doing what he's supposed to. And he's beating easy opposition, but he is doing a very good job. So fair play to him. But anyway, let's move on from this, guys. Let's discuss where the game will be won and lost. And I'll go to Samrit for this one. At the start of the competition, Italy were dominating possession. But in the last two games, I've noticed that counter-attacking football, especially led by Lorenzo Insigne, has become a major feature of what the Azzurri do, right? So what sort of an approach should they go for? Because everyone knows that England on the ball are nothing special. So how should they go about the game? Should they dominate possession or should they do what they did against Spain?
Previously, what you said, Srini, I completely echo with that because if you play Raheem Sterling on the right wing and Marcus Rashford on the left wing, I believe that that would create absolute menace because I know Marcus Rashford on the left wing is crazy and Raheem Sterling on the right wing was clear of Mala. I believe he could be clear of Emerson on any other day. As for where the game will be won, I think the game will be won in the defense. There are two best defenses that are going against each other. England have conceded one goal in over 750 minutes, and we know what Bonucci and Chiellini do as a pairing. So I think the defense is extremely important. I don't expect a lot of goals going in today. Perhaps maybe a 1-0, 1-all, something along those lines, because these are two resolute defenses. And this is what they also pride on because the Italians from even they've always been very, they have had the Bonucci Chiellini pairing since so long. They've always been very proud of their defense. And Maguire's Stones have been they've been completely like awesome. I have to give props to Stones as well, even though he's a City player. He's been absolutely fantastic in Euros in the season. So this is a game of the defenses for me and the centre back pairing, and they both have, Maguire is a ball playing centre back, Bonucci is a ball playing centre back. So there's a lot of creativity for both the teams that come from there as well. So it's not just protecting the ball and getting it out of the other team, but especially for England, I'd say, because they're playing a more defensive unit. Some would call it negative, but I'd say Gareth Southgate is being a little more pragmatic. As for what the Italians should do, I believe that Insigne is your answer. Insigne is the answer to everything that Italy have done in this tournament, as Sterling has been for England. So I see so many similarities between these two finalists. So I'm so gassed for today. I hope it's an insane game.
Sure, man. Amog, you had a question?
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll ask Pranay this question. See, Italy have never lost against England at a major tournament. They've won 3, they've tied 1, okay? And England have won just 2 of their last 14 meetings with Italy in all competitions. Okay. With that being said, Chiellini has also mentioned that England are favorites. They've won. They've played 6 out of their 7 matches at home. Do you think that today's home advantage is enough for England to see them lift the trophy?
Two things. For me, England are being slightly more defensive, so they are sticking to their defense and expand kind of a game in this, which has been their trademark. Secondly, home advantage does have a point when it comes to big games, and Wembley has been England's fort for so many years. That being said, the game will be won on the pitch and will be won on the mentality of the players, and that is where the leadership of Bonucci and Chiellini comes into play. So so for me, yes, home advantage does matter, but whatever you do on the pitch matters more. Uh, Srini, I wanted to ask you something. Out of, throughout the tournament, England have stuck to their, how do I say, it's a contract and expand sort of a game. And it's been slightly defensive. And you see the lineup as well that they want to be slightly defensive at the moment or don't want to concede goals the first 60, 65. What is your take on it?
Yeah, I love it, honestly. I love the fact that, look, I don't think Gareth Southgate is perfect, and I don't think he's the final thing since sliced bread. I do think they've got an easy run, and I do think that the fact that they're playing so many games at home is, like, that's not even me hating on them. Like, that's a very obvious advantage. Like, you're playing in your national stadium. Like, that's just got to be an advantage, especially in the final. However, I feel that I like the fact that Gareth Southgate doesn't get swayed by public opinion as much as a lot of other managers do. That is a sign of a top manager in a sense, and I've got to be fair when I say that, because England, when they do have control of the ball, are not an expansive side because Southgate is not that type of a coach, unfortunately. His strengths are making sure that the defense is very solid, which has happened. His strengths are making sure that England do get those 1-0 wins. And ironically enough, Italy are facing the most Italian side in the competition, which is England. And the Germany template that they followed is the template to go for, because ultimately their defense is spectacular. So just focus on that and sort of, find those chances where, like Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling tend to be very clinical, right? So use your forwards to score those goals, but ultimately stay very solid, because if you try to match Italy with what they do, just like if they did that with Germany, they'd get thrashed, because in that sense, Italy and England are not on the same level. Like, Italy are the main guys in this game. I know with the whole media coverage, you assume that England are the big boys. That's not true. In my opinion, Italy go as favorites. So England should be conservative, and England have never really had an identity, which is why they've never done well in major competitions. They want to play expansive football, but they can't do it. This time around, they do have an identity which is playing very defensive football in knockout tournaments. That will work. If you want to win a league, not particularly. So taking that into consideration, I really like it. I don't like watching it, but I do like it. So that's my point. And sorry, guys, my internet is not the best. I can't control that. I'll go to you, Amog. You wanted to add something to that?
Yeah. So I just got a notification that there's some troubling scenes at Wembley as fans have stormed through security. So I guess some would said that people are probably absolutely gassed for this match, and the excitement of coming home after 55 years has made the England fans a little bit too excited. But Wembley Stadium management has given a statement saying that they're dealing with the incident, and they're looking at the outside security perimeter. But it still remains unclear whether these incidents will sort of impact the kickoff time. But yeah, England and Italy, excitement already looming at Wembley. Anyone wants to add some of their reactions before this match?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah. So, Srini, I just wanted to add. I've seen that the style of Gareth Southgate is not something I'd prefer over a season. But in international tournaments, these are really short tournaments, so you need to know what your team's good at. I've noticed that when they came against the likes of Belgium, they turned three at the back because they know their capabilities, they know where they stand in terms of footballing in the footballing world. And I feel the main role of a manager is first to recognize where his team stands in terms of other teams and then play football, because you can play bad football, but if you win 10 years down the line, no one's going to remember that you played bad football and lost the game. You want to get the result, and Gareth Southgate has been getting the result. And I feel he's the perfect manager for England because these international tournaments are very short and very difficult in nature, because you play 4 games, in your 5th game, you're in the finals. So if you're able to play well for those 5 games, you win the tournament. And Gareth Southgate has recognized that very early, which is why we see 3 at the back, which is why we see 2 at the back when needed. So today we have 3 at the back because he knows that the Italian side knows how to play football. The midfield knows Giorgio, Verratti, Nicolo Barella. That midfield does know how to play. Ashini, what did you want to?
Yeah, no, I was going to go to Pranay actually, and I totally agree with you. I just feel that the fact that England have some sort of an identity is really good, and ultimately, like, because because it's England, like everyone has a comment about how they're not expansive enough, they're not testy enough to watch. But if it was Italy, if it was Germany, we'd be talking about how efficient they are.
Yeah.
You know, how they have an amazing mentality and how they're serial winners if they were Germans and if they were Italians. But you don't tend to say that about English, English teams in general. We tend to associate them with the likes of Stoke and Burnley, but we don't say that for German teams. We don't say that for Italian teams. So I think the approach is totally fine, but it is a I mean, it is not a sight for sore eyes, but it is what it is when you win. But Pranay, I'll go to you. You want to add to
Okay, so
this? And
the only
actually, I have an
justification.
extra question for you as well. The game,
Oh,
sorry?
okay, your voice kind of broke in between. So
Yeah, I have a question for
okay,
you.
so first you can ask the question, and then I'll add whatever.
Yeah, I'll ask the question. Yeah, the internet scene, guys, is not the best. So don't judge us. We've done this before. It may seem awkward, but it's not. Pranay, I'll go to you. Italy in the last game were not at their best. I think they got totally outplayed by Spain. Do you think that's a cause for concern, and how can England exploit that today?
Okay, so let's just tactically just throw in a little tactical tweak on what Spain did in the last game. So Danny Olmo was really influential on the build-up of that game, and especially in the Morata goal, because you can see Morata dropping in and Donny Almo dropping in as well. So Danny Olmo having that kind of pace was able to link up with either a Pedri and was able to link up with Morata and do a 1-2, which created space. So what happened is Bonucci and Chiellini are not the fastest centre backs in the world, right? Because of their age factor. So they were one of Bonucci or Chiellini, I guess, were dropped out of position. And they got dragged because Dani Olmo kind of did this run. So he dropped in deep, and then he was able to turn himself and link up with Morata. And Morata's hold-up play has always been really good. He's always been able to turn his back and provide support or link with his back towards the goal. So that was really efficient. That is where the goal came. Now, that being said, and Busquets' influence in that game was spectacular because Busquets was not letting Italy play out from the back, which is their traditional approach, which is later on they shifted to a more direct approach, and that is how Chiesa got the goal. So now that being said, Italy usually end up in a 3-5 formation, and a 3-5 formation while attacking has been the standard for all world-class teams, may it be a City and may it be a Bayern. You can see elements of the 3-2-5 while attacking. So you'll have either of Nicolo Barella and Marco Verratti going up, along with Insigne, Ciro Immobile, and whoever is on the right. So they're usually more fluid towards the right than they're on the left. Epison usually, or Spinazzola usually forms forward, which allows Insigne to drop in and able to link because he's a dribbler. So he is able to drip in, cut inwards, and then link or maybe take a long shot, which is his traditional tip towards the far corner, the goal that he got to in Belgium, right? So that to counter that and to be man to man in that kind of situation because they know that Italy are going to have most of the ball. That is the only justification I have for the 5-3-2 or the 3-5-2 formation that England are playing, or rather this is more like a 3-4-3 kind of situation at the moment because they want Mason Mount to be a free roamer and to be either drifting towards leftwards or coming centrally to block passing lanes into Giorgio. That is the only justification I have. But Italy being Italy, they have a pentagon pressing style. So they press high towards the pitch, but they also cut passing lanes. So I would actually see Harry Kane dropping in a lot to link up play because the main source of creativity will now have to come to Harry Kane. Now, if Harry Kane is creating, what is his finishing? How does it affect his finishing? I'd like somebody to raise some concern or something to throw some light on that matter.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Especially that analysis about Insigne cutting in and getting past players, especially when the likes of Spinazzola, at least, I'm not sure how Emerson's going to take up the role of becoming an additional winger of sort and just having Di Lorenzo play in a three at the back. I've noticed that from the Italian side as well, which is why Insigne is so important to Italy. But I want to touch on the key players for today's game. Such a big game. I mean, can't get bigger than this. It's the Euros finals finally. Amog, I'm going to ask you, who are your key players for both the Italy and the England team, and tell us why they're
Yeah, so for Italy, I think we've seen Federico Chiesa be an outstanding player throughout this campaign. Super sub, and whenever he's in the squad, he's delivered. He's beautiful at arriving late at the box and converting. So I'm a big fan of his actually, and it's we've seen a great progression from him from Fiorentina to regular at Juve. So yeah, he's definitely a key player for me, and vice versa. I would feel like on the other side that marking of him by Luke Shaw is definitely going to be something to talk about. I mean, if he arrives late at the box, Luke Shaw has to be there, and he's been a complete wingback throughout this campaign. I mean, wingback or back four, but definitely I would love to see that battle tonight. And also because England have started Mason Mount, there's definitely an introduction of a lot of pace going onto this Italy back four. So it would definitely be interesting to see who in the midfield is going to mark these players. I mean, Italy have been caught out of possession a lot against Spain, and we've seen Verratti, Jorginho, and Barella play beautiful passes throughout this tournament. But who's going to do the dirty work tonight? I think England have definitely gone into this approach to win fouls in key places, and they have been lethal on set pieces. So yeah, I would definitely want to see someone in the midfield take that extra effort to bring down some players. So I'm probably vouching for Jorginho because he's been, great out campaign, and if everyone is driving at the center, then he's definitely the main man at it. And for England tonight, I mean, it has to be Kane and Sterling. They've been, a class apart. With Sterling, tipped to be maybe player of the tournament, and Kane going for a golden boot tie or one up against Ronaldo and Patrick Schick. They're definitely the ones to watch. So yeah, those are my key players for tonight. What do you think, Srini?
Key players, man. Key players is a tough one, to be fair. For Italy, I'll actually go for Jorginho because I think in a game where again, when you're playing a team like Spain who have a midfield where you have the likes of Sergio Busquets and Pedri, yes, he can get overrun in midfield. Yes, he can get dominated, but I think Italy may just win that midfield battle in certain phases, and I think Jorginho is going to be very important in that, in sort of making sure that Italy, in sort of making sure that he distributes possession, make sure Italy just sort of make sure that make sure that the Azzurri tick when they're going forward. I think Giorgio is very important in that. He's been one of the players of the tournament already. So I think it's going to be brilliant because Barella is going to do a lot of the pressing. Verratti is sort of going to play a very hybrid role, which he always does. He is going to be like the Locatelli of this team, if that makes sense. So Jorginho from that deep line playmaker role just dictates everything. And if you give him time, if you give him space, much similar, very similar to like a Tony Kroos in a sense, he's just going to dictate the entire game. So England have to make sure that they don't do that because the guy has had an excellent tournament and he can pretty much do everything if he has time and space. He is a limited footballer, but a very good forward footballer as well. And if we're talking about England, it's a tough one. I think Kyle Walker really saved John Stones and Harry Maguire in the last game. He's not my key player, but I'm just saying that that's something that it must have analyzed because I think John Stones and Harry Maguire were constantly getting drawn out of possession. Not constantly, but like a couple of times. And Kyle Walker's pace was making sure that they sort of get rescued time and again. But if I had to pick a key player, you know what? I'm going for Harry Kane, not because he scores goals, not because he's one of the best strikers in the world, all that obvious stuff, is because he can play that Dani Olmo role. It's because he can make sure that Giorgio, Chiellini and Bonucci get drawn out. If he does that and if he plays his game to the best of his ability, like the pass that he played for Saka after the first goal in the last game, that's what Harry Kane can do when he drops deep. So for all the complaining, for all the moaning, if he does that with Raheem Sterling making those runs behind, that's going to be very, very dangerous. So I think Harry Kane is going to be very important in this game. Raheem Sterling is an obvious pick. So I'm going to go for Harry Kane if he plays that role to a T. But I'll go to you, Pranay. And then Pranay, I want you to go to Samrit, so we do a little tiki-taka over here. Who are your key players? Let's touch on Italy first, and then you touch on England.
Okay, so for Italy, my key player has to be either of Insigne or Chiesa. It's going to be either of the wingbacks because at the kind of structure that Italy will follow into this game, it's going to be one spark of creativity that's going to be leading Italy to break that defense down because England have been defensively pretty solid. And to break that England defense down, either they need something special or they need a stroke of luck. Now, I know Chiesa and Insigne, both of them, they have been brilliant in this tournament. So either of Insigne or Chiesa, because you need that spark of creativity in the final third, which they can bring. For England, it's going to be okay. I'll go with Genie. It's going to be Harry Kane, because if Harry Kane is supposed to play the Danny Olmo role that Danny Olmo did, constantly dropping deep, taking shots, taking long shots, going bombing into the box, and he's been great there. He's great on the ground. He can score from distance. So similar thing to what my similar statement for Italian team is that it's going to need a stroke of luck to win this game. And it's going to need something special from one special player of your team to win this game. So Chiesa, I'll go with Chiesa and Harry Kane for Italy and England. Then I'll go to Samrit. Samrit, actually, I have a question for everybody. We all know it's going to be a really tight game, right? Let's just assume that by the end of 120, and I'm going for extra time, by the end of 120, it's 1-1 because I see this happening. You have five penalty takers for Italy and you have five penalty takers for England. It's going to be a 5-5 instant knockout penalties. Who are your penalty takers for England and who are your penalty takers for Italy and why? I will start with Samrit. You go first.
Why? Yeah, why do we do this? Because it puts so much pressure on us. Just wanted to get he just wanted to chill and watch the game, but now I'm Gareth Southgate again. So I'll go for Marcus Rashford comes off the bench. Rashford, Harry Kane. If Mason Mount stays, he takes it. So that's my third pick. I'm still going to stick with Harry Maguire. You guys can give me shit, but I think he's very technical. I think he has to be one of the penalty takers. And if Sancho comes off the bench, Sancho or Grealish, but I've not seen Grealish take penalties because El Ghazi is the penalty taker for Aston Villa. So that's a little bit confusing for me. But as Sheeny mentioned in the last live, I think technical players are more likely to score a goal than non-technical players. And England have not done a penalty shootout till now, so advantage to Italy already. So as for the Italians, Locatelli missed one, so I'm not going to have him this time. It's going to be Insigne, Chiesa if they're on the field. Belotti should take one. Giorgio, of course. How can I miss Giorgio? And Bonucci, Chiellini, of course. Because he took a penalty last time, if I'm not wrong, and he scored. So he should be.
And some of the who are key players for tonight?
I'm going to stick with the Man United captain Harry Maguire. As I mentioned, that it's a game of defenses for me, and I'm excited to see how both the defenses actually show up on the day when it matters the most. This is the biggest game of Harry Maguire's entire career up until now, and he needs to show up. He needs to show that he is that staggering presence in the defense. I mean, of course, he hasn't played the whole tournament till now. He missed the last 10 for Man United as well, and he hasn't missed a beat. So he's been great, and I hope to see. And he's been winning a lot of headers, surprisingly. Like he's been attacking them and winning almost all the headers that are thrown towards him, and they're usually on target, which wasn't what I saw for Man United. I mean, he used to get those headers, but not really on target, which he has been doing this tournament. So he's not only a defensive threat. He knows how to pass the ball. He's also a threat during set pieces, and he's got nice technical ability. So Harry Maguire is going to be my keeper. Amog, I'm going to come to you. Let me know your 5 penalty takers for the team.
Oh my God! I'm in the Mancini and Southgate hot seat tonight. Yeah, I mean, I think for England, Kane obviously has to take it, and I feel like Trippier is also pretty good at penalties, so I think he would take one. And Sterling, Mount, and let's go for Harry Maguire. Yeah, I think Samrit's points are convincing enough for me to say that these will be the 5. But yeah, if there are substitutions, and there probably will be, yeah, I would definitely vouch Rashford to take one. And yeah, I mean, I don't see Grealish taking penalties either, so someone else, maybe one of the wing backs would take one. For Italy, yeah, I mean, Giorgio has to be there. Chiellini as captain definitely needs to step up. Bonucci also took a penalty last time, so I'm pretty confident in him taking one as well. And yeah, the striker. So if it's either Immobile or Belotti, one of them, and Chiesa should take one, just so that he gets on the score sheet in some way. If he doesn't, but yeah, these would be my 5, and yeah, we will go to predictions later. But Srini, who do you think are your penalty takers?
Sure. So I'll start with Italy actually. I think Leo Bonucci is going to take a penalty for me as well. He took a penalty in the last game. He's super technical, and yeah, he's just got to take a penalty. So Leo Bonucci, Jorginho obviously has to take a penalty, so I'll go for him. I'll go for Bernardeschi as well because he scored probably the penalty of the shootouts. So Bernardeschi is definitely one of my picks. Jorginho is definitely one of my picks, and I would probably go for Marco Verratti because he's just great at everything. So why not? But it could be Marco Verratti, it could be Chiesa, it could pretty much be everyone. I'd go for Belotti actually because one thing that I noticed about Belotti's penalty is that he took a lot of time when he took it, and that's actually a good thing. Like you shouldn't just instantly go for it. You should take your time, collect your thoughts for a good 10 seconds, and then go for it. Because statistically, it's seen that it always helps because you can compose yourself, you can sort of pick a side. So yeah, I'll give it to Belotti. So these are my 5 penalty takers for Italy. England, 3 penalty takers for me are set. Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Mason Mount. They're set. So it's only about the other 2 penalty takers. Raheem Sterling is never taking a penalty. I know he's going to bottle it. I just know it. And I can't see that happen. Raheem Sterling needs to be needs to be knighted. Other 2 picks, it's a bit tough to be fair. Jordan Henderson, I would trust Jordan Henderson, but he has missed penalties in the past. So I'm not particularly sure. I'd go for Jadon Sancho because again, he's a very good ball striker, and Jack Grealish takes free kicks to be fair, so Jack Grealish would not be a bad shot. Even Phil Foden wouldn't be a bad shot to be fair, because again, it's about good ball strikers and technical players. So that's why those would kind of be my 5 picks. But it's mainly about the 3 main picks. I actually even consider Trippier, as I said in the last one, because he takes free kicks, he takes corners, so why not? So yeah, I mean, 3 penalty takers I have set, and any of these 3, if they take it, I think they should do the business. Pranay, have we gone to you? I don't think we have.
And
Let's go to you, and let's do predictions, and let's call it a night, man.
okay, fair enough. So I'll start with Italy. I see either of Chiellini, Bonucci, and Chiellini taking one. I see Giorgio taking one, so that's two. Either of Chiesa and Insigne taking 1-3, Marco Verratti taking 1-4, and Belotti taking one, I guess, so that'll be five. Or Bernardeschi taking one, that'll be five. For England, I'm going to go with Maguire, Shaw, United fives right there. Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, and the fifth penalty would be Kevin Trippier. Because now, again, Luke Shaw, I know Luke Shaw is a really good penalty taker. He takes whips and good balls as well. I guess, same with Trippier as well. Good ball striking ability. Uh, Harry Kane, one of the best penalty takers. He has more than 80% conversion rate in penalties, so him right there. Marcus Rashford, the Paris penalty, and since then he's been taking penalties like gold since then. And whom did I choose for me? Harry Maguire, right? Again, good technical abilities for similar purposes. So why not? But if it goes to penalties, the thing is, I don't see it ending in five.
Fair points. I mean, yeah.
I don't see this ending in five because then it's going to go on and on. It's going to be like ending on the eighth pen or somewhere.
You know what? I want to see that. I don't want to see Villarreal, Man United level penalties, but I do want to see like high quality penalties, man. Because the Spain Switzerland penalties were a joke, to be honest. They were a shambles. So I don't want to see that. But let's take a couple of the comments and then let's do predictions, guys. So Daksh Varyani says gonna be a very low scoring match, though. See it going to extra time or a late goal for England. He thinks Trippier is sort of the main key player because of the Insigne threat. And Kabir Ali, who is sitting in the same room as me, says Jordan Pickford penalty needed. 100% it is needed, although he probably messed up, let's be honest. All right, boys, let's do predictions. Tell me your scorers. I'll go to Sam first. Who do you think is going to win Euro 2020? Who are your scorers? And yeah, man, no analysis needed. Just tell us what the scoreline is and who the scorers are.
I'll go for a 1-1 because, as Doug mentioned in the comments, I don't believe it's going to be a high-scoring game. Both defenses are very resolute. Harry Kane's going to get a goal through an awesome Raheem Sterling run. And for Italy, I'm going to go for Insigne. He's been on the smoke the whole tournament, so I hope he ends it in the same way. It goes to penalty, and I see it will come home. England will win it. Pickford will be your hero, Chini, I'm telling you.
if England win it, and this is pretty sort of credible, Gareth Southgate will be knighted. Raheem Sterling is actually going to be knighted, and some of the England boys will be. So imagine Sir Jordan Pickford. Like, let's not forget Jordan Pickford in the Premier League. Yeah, let's not talk about it. But if you know, you know. So it'll be absolutely mental if he gets a knighthood. But it is what it is. Let's go to you, Amok. Who's winning Euro 2020, and why is it England? Because you've been saying it's coming home a bit too much. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been too long, and they definitely are at the stage where they have to like execute. They have to finish it off, and I'm gonna definitely go for an England win, and I think it's gonna be a 2-1. And surprisingly, I feel like it'll be a Trippier goal. I feel like there will be a set piece, you know, chance, and he'll definitely take it. I think there's a good chance. Yeah, we'll see one Trippier goal, and Kane to finish it off. Maybe a consolation goal for Italy at the end, maybe with Insigne. But I see England leading 2-0. For the better part of the game before maybe some Italy, frantics at the end with probably one Insigne goal. So I see it finishing within the 90, but there is definitely a part of me which thinks that it'll be a low-scoring game. So I mean, my second opinion would be like a 1-0 England win with a Kane winner or something. But 2-1 is what my gut tells me at the moment. So that's what I hope to see tonight. At least some action within the midfield, especially like I feel it's just going to be tricky for for Italy to hold off that energy and pace that the England side offers right now. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. What about you? What do you think, Srini?
All right, Pranay, let's go to you.
Okay,
Do you see an Italy win? Because I mean, this just seems like, sorry, the internet. I'm not trying to be rude. The internet is absolutely mental, so I didn't hear what you were saying at the end. But 2-1 England. Pranay, let's go to you. Quick predictions. Do you see an Italy win, or are you going 3 lines as well?
No, so I see Italy winning this, and I see one goal coming from a counter press from Italy because Italy press well, they press high, and they press in numbers. So there can be one error because they're cutting off a lot of passing lanes. So there can be one error goal coming from either an Immobile or an Insigne. So which is like kind of a turnover situation. One goal coming from England to a
Yeah.
set piece. So they're going to take a free kick because they basically set on that. They're going to take a free kick or corner, and somebody will get his head to it. It can be Harry Maguire because he's won like 2.7 headers per 90 in this tournament. This is exceptionally good.
Wow.
So a Harry Maguire header and senior turnover, and the second and the third last goal could be a spark of creativity from Chiesa. He can bomb in behind and maybe take on Harry Maguire or Johnston and take a whip shot outside the box. That's going to be one of the goals to that can happen as well from because they can go direct as well, and Chiesa can go on the left, and then they can drift in and score a goal. So that can happen. So I see a 2-1 Italy, but again this goes to extra time, and the second goal is coming in the second half of extra time. It's not coming before that. So
Fair play, man. Fair play.
Chiellini, how
Um,
about for you?
Yeah, I think that it's just kind of ironic that the very thing that England fans and pretty much every Premier League fan was complaining about, which was that overly defensive approach, is probably the best thing about England, which is it's just the power of irony, I suppose. But I'm going for an England win. I am repping the Azzurri, so I do kind of want them to win. But I think England will win tonight. I see a 1-0 England win, either in the 90 minutes or in extra time. I'm not particularly sure. But as Amok said, I think Harry Kane will score the winner. Possibly of a Luke Shaw cross, or no, possibly of a Jack Grealish cross, because I do think he'll probably make the difference tonight. And yeah, I just see one goal. I think it's going to be a very low scoring affair. I think for most of the game, we're going to think Italy are the better side, but England are going to do what England do and be very effective and do an Italy on Italy. So 1-0 England, Harry Kane winner, and it is coming home, I
It's
think.
coming
So yeah,
home.
man, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, Amog is certainly gassed, man. I mean, Amog is a Three Lions fan in disguise. Well, not even in disguise, man. You support the Three Lions way more than Belgium. What's going on?
I have a question actually for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to bring club football in an international game, but how does it feel being Manchester rivals and seeing Chelsea boys, one of the Chelsea pairings win Euro 2020?
I mean, I don't have an answer to that, man. I just think that you're way too gassed about Chelsea, and it's annoying that either Jorginho or Reece James and Chilwell can't even. Chilwell should win a medal, by the way. Chilwell has been in a hotel. His contribution to the England side is as much as my contribution. I watch the games and I chill out, and he does the same thing. So Reece James and Chilwell should maybe not get a medal. Mason Mount has been a little average in the competition, if I'm being very honest. But it is what it is. I like Mason Mount, but he's been a little mid for me. But anyway, this is not. That's why you shouldn't bring club football into it. There's beef. I think we've covered enough anyway, boys. So I think we should call it a day, right? So yeah, man, Euro 2020 final, what a tournament! Standard of football, sky high. Not really, but it's been super, super fun. Pranay, you want to add something to that?
No, I just want to say best of luck to everyone who's going to be watching this game because it's going to wreck everybody's sleep schedule tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Look, if England win, I will be happy for them. But my Twitter timeline is going to be
And I think we lost Srini.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
we've
we
lost.
lost Srini. But
Yeah.
yeah, like
Fingers crossed.
What we need to do is to
yeah,
be
go
excited.
go ahead, Simon.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, Srini is the only one who can end it, right? We can't end it. So, Pranay and Amov, I'm going to quickly ask you one question without any analysis. Tell me who were your key substitutes off the bench, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, Pranay, go ahead.
For England, it's going to be Grealish. For Italy, it's going to be. Fuck, I am forgetting his name. Or I need to search the name. Wait. Who's the guy who's been linked to Arsenal? Somebody's been linked to Arsenal. Okay, I am confused.
Just take Locatelli.
Locatelli.
Locatelli, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to start. Juventus is about to buy him. Yeah, Locatelli. Yes. Amog, on to you. And then
Yeah, I don't know. I have maybe a crazy shout here, but I think substitution wise, if Jude Bellingham comes on, I think he'd be definitely a good provider for one of the goals. So it would definitely. I mean, it would be nice to see like a teenager take a penalty if it goes to penalties also. So that would definitely be something of an interest to me. But for Italy, yeah, I think that if the game were to be if Italy are to finish the game off, it should definitely bring on Bernardeschi. Like he's definitely the right type of winger who can cross from the right flank, and so he's also a great penalty taker. We saw that against Spain. So yeah, I would say Bernardeschi and I would say Bellingham. What about you, Samrit?
I'm going to go for the latest United signing. No United bias here, but Jadon Sancho for me. It could be Grealish also because, I feel like one of Mason Mount or Raheem Sterling will get substituted because they are looking to, be defensive in nature. So, Srini is here. Srini, we're wrapping up, but we're discussing one last bit.
Yes. What were we talking about?
We were wrapping up, but then you left, so we quickly decided to talk about the subs. Pranay, Amog has spoken. I have gone for Grealish and Sancho, and for Italy, I'm going for Belotti. No analysis, Srini. Who are the subs for you off the bench, England and Italy, and then we'll wrap up and get prepared for the final. Let's go.
Yeah, man, I'm gassed. No analysis. Just in general, for England, Jack Grealish is going to change the game. And for Italy, Manuel Locatelli, but I hope he doesn't take a pen because that penalty was surprisingly really bad. But I think, boys, we've covered enough. Let's just go and watch the game now. I'm done talking. I just want to watch the game. And yeah, man, thank you so much for joining us, guys. I hope if you're watching, you do need to like, you do need to subscribe. If you're not doing that, you probably wear half and half scarves and you're an absolute snake. No, I'm joking. So please do subscribe to the channel. Please do like the video. Check out the website in the description below. Whether there'll be an article tomorrow or not, I'm not particularly sure because we're all out, to be honest. But we do drop very, very regular. We do drop content very, very regularly. Amog is saying it's coming home again and again, man. He really wants his Chelsea boys to win the Euros, and he's probably going to push Mason Mount Ballon d'Or props. So I'm not
No,
looking
no,
forward
no.
to that. But anyway,
Maybe the Jorginho shouts, but I see that as a meme. But yeah, no, Messi has been phenomenal at the Copa, so he
oh yeah,
definitely has a good chance.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to Leo Messi and shout out to all of you. I can't see what you're saying, son. I can't read it.
it is not
It is not.
okay.
It is not. Well, let's see. Shout out to Leo Messi. Shout out to all of you people who are awake at 5:30 a.m. to watch an absolute disaster of a game. You guys are legends. I was one of them. But anyway, you should check out the website, and we hope there's a great final. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it. And until next time, we move.